Once, we went online to feel less alone. Now, the internet is where grudges are born. Two creators, one feud, and a live stream that ended in tragedy. Cho was a simple man in his 50s who streamed his everyday life on his YouTube channel, Joddle TV. He had a small but loyal audience of around 6,000 subscribers. Viewers admired his kind, genuine nature as he shared ordinary moments from his day. Then came Hong, another streamer, and at first their friendship seemed full of promise. They enjoyed each other's company, shared similar interests, and often appeared together on streams. But over the years, something changed. In one broadcast, Cho made a remark about a woman who had once dated Hong. What might have been a small misunderstanding slowly grew into resentment. Hong took it personally, and soon their friendly rivalry turned sour. Over time, online arguments led to real-life tension, and the situation spiraled until Cho decided to take legal action. By July 2023, several complaints had been filed, and the court scheduled a hearing for the 9th of May 2024. Cho hoped this would finally settle things, but he didn't know that this day would mark the end of their long conflict, in the worst possible way. That morning, Cho started a live stream on his way to court. He spoke calmly to his audience, explained that he wanted the court to address the damage caused by the dispute and to seek justice. It seemed like just another stream, until something went terribly wrong. As Cho neared the courthouse, a masked figure suddenly confronted him. The man struck him before escaping in a vehicle. Cho was still streaming when the incident occurred, meaning some viewers unknowingly witnessed the tragedy unfold live. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but Cho could not be saved. Investigators soon identified the attacker as Hong. The connection became clear when police found digital traces linking him to the event, including a post he had made on his channel hinting at a drastic act, and receipts showing he had rented a vehicle the day before. Within 2 hours, Hong was taken into custody. During the trial, evidence confirmed his involvement. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, with electronic monitoring required if he is ever released. In an unexpected moment, Hong even thanked the judge and applauded as he was escorted from the courtroom. Following the verdict, both Cho and Hong's YouTube channels were removed, erasing the digital traces of a friendship that had once entertained thousands. In the end, what began as a connection turned into devastation. A few minutes could have changed everything. Another life was lost to the darker side of human emotions, where trust fractures and online rivalries go too far. In the shadowy corners of the internet, a tragic crime unfolded. A simple live stream turned into a chilling cover-up for crime, and British YouTuber Stephen McCullagh, once a known face on YouTube, found himself at the centre of a disturbing investigation. Natalie was a promising worker at the public transport company TransLink and was dating Stephen McCullagh. On the 12th of December 2022, 32-year-old Natalie McNally, who was expecting a child, was found unresponsive in her home in Northern Ireland. Investigators noted clear signs of an altercation, suggesting that she had been harmed. But why would someone do this? And more importantly, who would do such a thing? The investigation started instantly. House-to-house inquiries and around 3,000 hours of CCTV footage brought a breakthrough. Evidence from bus footage showed a masked figure suspiciously taking a sip of soda on a bus heading to Natalie's home. The same person was seen leaving her house that night. Police believed this unusual behaviour showed an attempt to hide their identity. The police were quick to uncover this masked man. A man was arrested the day after the discovery but freed the same day. Then, on 21st of December, another man was held but also released. Then came the turn of Stephen McCullagh, the victim's partner, and soon the investigation became focused on him. Although Stephen argued he had been live streaming the whole night, it was quickly discovered that he had staged the entire thing. A 6-hour live stream where he appeared to be playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City was meant to serve as his alibi. The stream itself raised suspicion. There was no real interaction between Stephen and his chat, which he claimed was due to technical issues. But the truth was far more concerning. The 6-hour live stream was not live at all, but pre-recorded 6 days earlier. While viewers thought they were watching a real-time broadcast, Stephen was in fact using it as a calculated distraction from what had taken place that night. The investigation uncovered more unsettling details. Stephen, who once worked part-time for the Belfast Telegraph, even kept in touch with Natalie's family after the incident. In an unusual twist, he left his phone in their home, secretly recording their audio to check whether he was still under suspicion. As more details unraveled, detectives concluded that the object used in the incident had come from inside Natalie's home. This suggested that the person responsible knew the house well. The case became more complex when it was revealed that Stephen's entire defense rested on whether the live stream was real or fabricated. In the courtroom, his defense barrister argued the outcome hinged on this crucial point. Yet the mounting evidence, from the lack of interaction during the live stream to the footage of a masked individual, suggested Stephen had created his own digital alibi. Further scrutiny of the stream itself revealed more oddities. First, the chat was unnaturally quiet. Second, Stephen had not streamed for over a year until that exact night, pointing strongly to the idea that it was staged. In February 2023, he was arrested. As the investigation deepened, disturbing details began to surface. Prosecutors claimed that Stephen had found private messages between Natalie and another man, messages that may have sparked jealousy and anger. But what investigators uncovered next made the case even darker. They alleged that Stephen had staged a gaming livestream, one that appeared to be live during the exact hours Natalie was killed. Forensic experts later revealed the footage had been pre-recorded, suggesting that it might have been used as an alibi. Hidden within that video were cryptic symbols and subtle clues, which prosecutors said mirrored real events from that night. Investigators also examined Stephen's online activity from the weeks before the incident. They described his searches as deeply disturbing, so much so that they became key evidence in court. The specific terms were never shown publicly, but prosecutors said they pointed toward violent and unsettling interests. When Stephen appeared for his bail hearing, he seemed calm and confident. But the prosecution argued that he was manipulative and deceptive, capable of carefully planning and concealing his actions. The judge agreed and denied bail. Stephen has remained in custody ever since, awaiting trial, now set for November 2025. Meanwhile, his YouTube channel continues to attract attention, drawing thousands of curious viewers to his old videos, even as the case against him grows darker. Pekka Erik Auvinen was an 18-year-old student at Jokela High School in Finland. He performed reasonably well in his studies and hoped to graduate in the spring of 2008. To most people, Erik seemed quiet, a shy, introverted teenager who often kept to himself. But behind that calm exterior, he had struggled for years with bullying and a growing sense of isolation. Between December 2006 and January 2007, his parents sought professional help for him. They believed the bullying had led to depression and anxiety. A psychiatrist evaluated him, but seeing his symptoms as mild, decided that extensive treatment wasn't necessary, recommending only medication instead. However, Eric's behavior soon began to change. He grew instantly hostile and withdrawn, showing a growing fascination with extremist ideologies and violent themes. He had clearly developed a fascination with violence. Although Eric never showed signs of erratic behavior in person, his online world told a very different story. He managed 2 YouTube accounts, Sturmgeist89 and Natural Selector 89, the numbers reflecting his birth year, 1989. On these channels, he shared videos about school attacks and other violent topics, often exploring dark and disturbing themes. In the days leading up to the tragedy, Eric uploaded a video titled McCullagh High School. It opened with an image of the school, before fading into red-tinted clips of himself posing with a weapon. In hindsight, it was a clear warning, but at the time few took it seriously. Maybe people simply couldn't believe someone like him would act on it. Or maybe they just didn't care. On the morning of the 7th of November, Eric entered the McCullagh High School and encountered a student in the ground floor corridor. The student was fatally injured, and Eric continued further into the building. In the next few moments, more people were harmed. Hearing the commotion, the nurse called emergency services, but Eric found her and others nearby, resulting in more tragic injuries. By this time, the head of school, Helena Calmy, was alerted of the ongoing situation, and she ordered all students and teachers to barricade themselves inside their classrooms. After this, Eric appeared agitated and began firing indiscriminately. He tried to get into a class but was unsuccessful and moved on to the 2nd floor from there. There, Eric spotted 2 students sitting on a bench and opened fire again. While one student escaped, the other tragically lost their life. Then, in a disturbing turn of events, Eric began pouring fuel on the corridor walls and floors of the 2nd floor, but thankfully was not able to light it. Otherwise, this whole tragedy could have been far larger. Helena, the school head, went out to a nearby pond to talk on the telephone and ordered the education welfare officer to go ahead and guide the rescue vehicles into the school area. However, suddenly Eric came out of nowhere, shouting at Helena, who tried to convince him to surrender. In a desperate moment, he fired multiple times, ending her life. Then, Eric went back into school and managed to enter a class on the 1st floor that was occupied by students. Though he shouted at them, ordering them to destroy school property, he left the class without harming anyone. Soon, Eric spotted the first responding police officers entering the area, and only Eric knows what he thought when he fired at them. Even with such life-threatening behavior, officers still tried to approach and negotiate with him. But the teenager had lost control and continued firing towards them. In a final act, Eric walked into the lavatory next to the canteen, threw his jacket and bag on the floor, went into the nearby restroom, and turned the weapon on himself. The incident lasted for about 20 minutes, during which 8 innocent people lost their lives and 13 were injured. But these 13 are only the ones with physical wounds. What about those who witnessed the traumatic scenes or saw their friends in danger? This mental trauma though not accounted for, was suffered by the 200 souls who were safely evacuated from the school. Police officers were informed that perhaps there was more than one perpetrator. They decided to sweep the school when they found Eric lying on the restroom floor, believing he might still be alive. He was quickly sent to a nearby university hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. But this was not the end of Eric's story. After his death, his background was checked in depth to find the cause of the horrific incident, now called the McCullagh High School tragedy. It turned out that Eric had uploaded a file package containing 21 media files to the internet. This package included pictures of himself, the school, a music file, and 3 documents in Finnish and English. Among them was a text file explaining Eric's beliefs and motivations. In it, he claimed that he wanted his act to be seen as a statement against humanity, influenced by earlier extremist essays that criticized modern society. Eric referred to his actions as a personal war against society and attempted to justify his behavior through distorted ideas of social Darwinism. But this was not the only thing that disturbed the authorities. They also found that Eric had purchased a legally obtained weapon and a large quantity of ammunition on the 2nd of November. He then uploaded a video to YouTube before the attack, declaring his intentions, and shared his written material online. The police found evidence of the weapon and ammunition used at the school after the attack, as well as a personal note he had left behind. The tragedy was unlike anything Finland had ever seen, drawing shock and sorrow from across Europe. It became a turning point, forcing countries to rethink school safety and firearm control to prevent history from repeating itself. As for Eric, his actions were rooted in years of bullying, growing isolation, and a dark fascination with violent ideology. But where did it begin? When did admiration turn into obsession? And who or what pushed him over the edge? The answers died with him.